the absolute best North American players in the world.
Yeah. And to start things off here, on Golden Aura, spawning over in the bottom right-hand side as the blue Terran, currently teamless, it is Kelazhur.
And his opponent up here in the top left, it's DisK.
Yeah, I mean, like, I was going to say, NA has been a scene that's been, throughout the years, memed on. Throughout all esports, not just StarCraft. Like, it gets memed on a lot, right? But
right.
you take into account those players that DisK has already had to play, like Estrella, Scarlet, and Kelazhur, and he's rocking a score of 2-1 currently. Like, this NA region, especially since it got combined with the Latin American one, it is not easy at all. Like, if you finish top 4 in this region, you're actually damn good. Like, really damn good.
No, it's very competitive now. Ever since the Americas got merged together into one big event here for this particular regionals, it's been very competitive, and the players are incredibly good. In the past, we just sort of assumed some players would make it out regardless, but right now it really is a very difficult one. So this is, by the way, a series where the winner moves on to the next stage of the event. So both of these players are 2-1 in series at the moment. If you win 3, you do end up moving on. If you do lose this one, they will have another shot. But of course, they would prefer playing less games and just moving on straight to the next round. Standard build orders here from both players so far. DisK sending that probe all the way across the map to try and block the opponent for just a little bit. But Kelazhur not really going to be delayed.
Yeah, and Kelazhur's going for a very textbook Terran versus Protoss opening here. Just getting a Reaper out initially to start things off, getting his CC on the low ground. Probably going to end up with a bunker as well at the front here after getting this Marine up and running. It's just nice, solid, macro-based. And, you know, Wardy nicknamed Aragfire the Robo Kid, which I thought was really cool. DisK for me, and it's been a long time since I played against him a lot, but he used to play on the European ladder a lot back in the day, probably still does. He was the Blink boy, and I see a Twilight Council straight away for him. Like, I could almost predict exactly what DisK was going to do, and that's not because I was a genius. It's because the boy loved Blink. He was Blink boy, and yeah,
I thought your games ended by the Marauder cheese, Ben. What am I hearing now? You played macro games against Protoss too? I thought you just proxied a bunch of Marauders on the other side of the map, and that was it.
Only when I play noobs, you know, like there's a certain Mr. Vanderkoy out on the ladder that I've been stealing points from left, right, and center. Love you, Kev. Love you, Kev.
Alrighty, yeah, we're definitely going to be seeing that Blink upgrade here for DisK. I mean, it could technically be something else too, but there it is. Blink is very, very popular in the current meta of StarCraft. We'll have to see how many gateways he decides to mix in over here. Anywhere between 3 and 4 is what we normally see. It could be absolutely crazy, but more than likely, we're going to see some pressure.
I think so, but he's also the kind of guy that he would often go like 2 gate with a third Nexus, like playing it very safe. Like in my head when I used to play DisK, I was like, this guy is very much like a ladder Protoss. Like he's gone for a build here that is very sensible and will net you safe results across the board. And right now, the build that he's going for is one of those. You know, he's a Protoss that's been scarred before in his life, and Kelazhur is the kind of Terran that can be a little bit cheeky. You know, like we've seen it in his TVPs where he's been a Reaper guy in the past and all that kind of jazz. And right now, DisK, you know, after not watching his games for a while, it's exactly what he used to play a long time ago against me, and it's a very good build. Like it's good against all the random stuff that Terran can fly against you.
You're absolutely right. It is going to be a double gate start right here rather than the 3 or 4 gates that we have been seeing for the majority of the day so far. So nice and quick third Nexus. That Blink is indeed going to be done in time to basically protect against everything. Now, nothing all too fishy though coming across the map. As a matter of fact, we have an empty medevac, quote unquote, drop right now heading across here for Kelazhur. Mostly just checking out exactly what's going on. I mean, there could always be widow mines in these things, right? But losing it is just really bad though.
Really bad, and DisK didn't even have to reveal that he had Blink. I mean, you absolutely expect it to be Blink, but Kelazhur being very sloppy, and
that's a big mistake.
A huge mistake, because we see what he's lined up after it. He's got like this tank push ready.
Triple forge?
That's interesting. Absolutely a mistake.
It's gotta be a mistake, no?
I think it's a mistake. I don't think you can ever afford that. Oh, a little bit of a lag spike here. Is that me?
No, I had a bit of a lag spike too. That was a name that popped up, but it disappeared pretty much right away.
Nah.
Sorry, I kicked my router. It happens. It happens in these online events. Getting the Liberator too. Whoa, okay. Kelazhur going for a very normal opener and losing 2 of his most important units. Now maybe this can get something done. We do have a big counterattack over here. He decides to blink straight into the siege tanks.
I think that's a good move, actually. Really mitigating the siege tank fire, but still, that was costly, man. That cost him a lot. And these Marines, they are just going to start melting these probes. This is a very nice push by Kelazhur, and despite a lot going wrong for him, DisK was not prepared for this.
No, he doesn't have enough units here, right? Like he just, yeah, he's got 3 forges standing inside of the main base. I don't believe that that was intentional. Ultimately, he will be cleaning this up with all of the reinforcements, but you don't already see this reflected right now in the supply count. Kelazhur has been losing a bunch of units. He's going to lose a couple more over here as well, but ultimately, he will still end up with the supply advantage. Third command center, though, is much later here compared to the third of Protoss.
He has gone for all the upgrades. That is ridiculous. Okay.
So maybe it was intentional?
I guess so. I guess so.
So he's like, hey, I get a free medevac. That means I can instantly drop 3 forges? Like, he has about as many forges as he's got unit-producing structures, so it seems kind of insane.
Yeah, I'm...
Maybe it was a mistake, and now he's just kind of trying to roll with it, you know? He's like, oh no, I'm being broadcasted. Maybe I don't hate it here. It's just kind of risky, because Kelazhur's going to move across the map with Stimpak, combat shields, and all the rest of it. It's going to be a big army. And yeah, he may have like 7 really well upgraded stalkers, but numbers is oftentimes what you're looking for.
Okay, so if it was a mistake to go for the third forge, I think it's cool to go with it, you know? It's like... It's like the cool kid in class that, you know, had his pants too far, or his trousers too far down, and then people are like, whoa, look at him, and then he just kind of goes, oh, so what, I'm a Giga Chad, and just kind of rolls with it, and then, you know, it's cool. I think this is definitely one of those kind of things, but if it is something that he's been playing with and planning and doing, then that's awesome. Oh, these Stalkers are getting in a tough spot here, and Kelazhur, he's caught him out, he's caught him out.
Yeah, getting all of these Stalkers is absolutely massive. Can he at least get 1 Marauder for his troubles? No, it's going to be 2 very low hit point ones instead. And that is really unfortunate. So ultimately, I think Kelazhur is just going to move across the map and have a very hard army to stop here. Those low HP Marauders here are gonna get healed back up to full as well. DisK will finish up all of his upgrades. He will finish up charge. He will also get a War Prism out. But does he have enough units? I mean, I'm looking at the supply counts right now, and it just doesn't seem like he's got enough stuff.
Tell you what, when you have the triple upgrades, Loco, you don't really need that many units, do you? I mean, these units are amazing over here, but that force field kind of working against DisK at this point, but he has bought time for that shield battery, and that's a massive deal. It's just Kelazhur's macro's been on point this game. It really has. Like, he is flying. He's on 67 workers against 59.
Widow Mines burrowed here as well, softening up a lot of those Zealots with ease. At least the Siege Tanks and the Widow Mines are now gone, but Kelazhur is not done just yet. He brought some more reinforcing units across the map too. He's still fighting up this ramp though, which is a little bit risky.
I mean, he's done a good job with the medevac pickup so far, and he does a good job again. And right now, I think these Widow Mines are cloaked as well. I think he's got an armory already done. And is there even a Robo on the map right now? Okay, there is a Robo. Yeah. There is a Warp Prism even, but this is just a lot of units in DisK's face right now. And it's all well and good having triple forge, but if you've not got the units to power them up, it's problematic. Okay, well, we do have the Prism over here flying over the Marines. That's usually the location where you don't want it to be, but luckily here for DisK, it did not get targeted immediately. Ooh, okay. Yeah, ultimately everything here is going to fall. The Widow Mines are currently not available to fire again, but that is not what you want to see here from the Protoss player. Excellent work here by Kelazhur. Losing a few units, maybe a bit sloppily, but he does obtain the victory here in the end. Game number 1 goes in his favor, but probably not entirely in the way that he had anticipated. I mean, if that game is anything to go by for Kelazhur, and we just got to remember, like, what went wrong. The fake medevac, the scouting medevac that just kind of flew in there and died, that was really weird. And then getting the Liberator caught out as well. But the fact that he still just did a push, like a very kind of standard push as well on that third base, did so much damage, and then just has like a 40 supply lead kind of out of nowhere. This is that to me, if I'm in Kelazhur's shoes, it just kind of spells that he's going to be confident in this series, because that wasn't a game where everything went right and the stars aligned for you. That was everything going really wrong, basically, and you're still the victor pretty solidly. So yeah, I hope that DisK can get things together a little bit better for the next game, because so far that was just Kelazhur showcasing that he was solid.
Yeah, keep in mind that Kelazhur also did box in a whole lot of those stalkers at home, right? Like if those, I think it was like 5 or 6 stalkers that ended up going down there for basically free. If those were with the main fight, I think it may have looked very different as well. Despite the triple upgrades, mistake or not, we'll see, I guess, if he decides to go for it again in game number 2. It could have looked very different there. So I think ultimately, Kelazhur did make up for losing those 2 units there for free. And obviously that wasn't anything inside of the medevac either. So that can turn out to be a bit of a misread. There's also a chance that maybe DisK thought that he may have caught like a medevac full of units. And he's like, you know what? If that's the case, I can probably just make all my upgrades and see where we go from here.
Is the game up, by the way? Are you in the lobby?
We're Swiss server.
Yeah, I'm on Europe right now. My StarCraft's being very strange. All right,
it seems like you're invited right now. There we go.
That was good. Like all my, like the rank wasn't there. My portrait was gone. It was very, very strange.
You didn't have your Grandmaster League border? Did that give you a bit of a shake?
I still don't see it. It's gone.
I see it. I even see your innovation portrait. I think we're all good.
Okay, good.
That's the most important part.
Yeah, that Grandmaster logo right there. It's coming in strong.
Yeah. I figured I'd just drop it for you.
But yeah, it was all gone for me for whatever reason. All right, second map will be Site Delta. We've seen a good few TVPs recently, which is nice. And this map too. It's been pretty difficult, I think, this one in particular for Protoss against Terran. Like the way that you want to expand, it's kind of vertical or like down, and that really opens up your main base to a lot of drops play. The coffee games from earlier really stood out to me, that he just absolutely danced all around Max said in those games, and was very much about really utilizing the fact that Protoss had to spread really wide and far, and that's when this 2-prong aggression, Polt-esque style of old, really can come in.
Alrighty, so game number 2 is indeed loading up right now. Curious to see what Kelazhur is going to go for here as well, though, because this early game really, I mean, his macro was really solid, of course, but the early game really did not go his way at all.
No, it certainly didn't. Getting into Site Delta, spawning as the Red Protoss over here on the southeast side, it is DisK.
And up here in the top left, it's Kelazhur.
We've also got to mention Kelazhur currently in Europe. I don't know if he's in Netherlands or Bulgaria or...
Yeah, if you follow the man on Instagram, you can tell he's a world citizen, but I believe he lives in the Netherlands most of the time these days.
Yeah,
he has been for a while.
He's been learning Bulgarian, though. He's a man that speaks many languages. Like
really? Huh.
Yeah, he's really cool. So I don't know where he is currently. The only reason I bring this up, first game was on NA. So ping, maybe that could have absolutely come into play for some of the little mistakes that happened early on, losing the medevac and whatnot. But now they're playing on Europe on this game. So yeah, that also makes me feel quite confident if I'm Kelazhur, just because, hey, I won on my not home server. Now we're playing on my home server. Now you're in my playground. That definitely feels awesome.
Absolutely, especially if you're going for that Blink Stalker style and whatnot, when all of your blinks are going to be ever so slightly more delayed, it can get a little bit frustrating. Usually what we do in StarCraft 2 when players are a little far apart is alternate servers to try and make it as fair for everybody involved. For example, if we have like Korea going up against Europe, usually we'll alternate between NA West and NA Central. Just because, well, the one game, one guy has like a 160 ping, and then the next game's got like 190 or whatever, just to make it as fair as possible. Almost getting the probe. Oh my god, he gets it. Wow. And that's, honestly, even if it's just like a single worker, that's like a massive mental victory.
Dude, this was so cool for so many reasons. Like, Kelazhur saw that this probe was obviously, like, right-clicked back home. And then, because StarCraft 2 has such good unit pathing, opening up that path and closing it again, that probe got all over the shop. And Kelazhur took massive advantage of that and gets the probe kill. Now this Reaper can just go across the map, happy as Larry, get the scouting information, and the probe's also dead. Really terrible start. And that's the kind of start that can tilt you if you're already 0-1 down.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a little bit of damage done, scouting information lost, and then also a mental hit, right? Where you're like, oh no, I made another mistake. That is not what I was aiming for at all. Now that Reaper is going to go to town 2. If this can get a worker, that would be kind of nice. Okay, there we go. Scouts the Twilight Council. Lovely work. Okay, he does not get out, but that was still very effective.
Nah, like if... So, Kelazhur's, as I say, he's a smart cookie, right? If I know that DisK is a Blink boy, and you know Reddit tell me every other day, I'll get a message like "Screw you, AoE4 guy," like then he'll know that he's absolutely a Blink boy as well. But getting the 2 probes, like one with the Reaper, one with the SCV, Kelazhur getting the knowledge, the confirmation that that's happening. Like Kelazhur's absolutely sitting pretty this game thus far.
Absolutely. So once again, gonna be that Blink upgrade here for DisK. What did you call him? The Blink boy? I think that was it, right?
Blink Boy, yeah, we have Blink Boy, Robo Kid.
I think Robo Kid is way cooler.
I mean, Robo Kid is way cooler, but would I rather play with Blink or Robo? I think I'd play Blink, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right, we're going to try and body block this Hellion over here to try and mitigate at least some of that damage. Looks like it will get destroyed here eventually. So, yeah, not that much damage getting done here by Kelazhur, but again, he's distracting this army for a long time, and he knows exactly what he's playing against. So it's once again going to be a bunch of gateways here, but this time around we're adding on more than in the previous game. So at the very least, DisK is planning on dealing some significant damage on the other side of the map, or at the very least keep his opponent occupied. It's going to be... how many gateways? 4 gateways. Yeah, 4 gateways together with a robo facility, so he's certainly very committed. Yeah, this is going to be tricky. Like, Kelazhur's putting a lot into this, by the way. Like, this is a naked barracks that's been producing units. So his unit count, in fact, he's stopped that army from moving out. Maybe he knows something's coming. Like, here, getting a scout off with this medevac's obviously a big deal if he can keep it alive, which hopefully he will this time.
Probes get pulled right there to try and run from an empty medevac. Oh no, don't lose it again. He does lose it again. That's really painful though. DisK is ready to start microing on the other side of the map, and now any sort of counter-attack pressure, I mean, obviously the medevac was empty, but he didn't realize that. It's gonna be, well, mitigated entirely. He can focus entirely on just dealing damage on the other side of the map. Kelazhur right now is moving out though. What do you think about this?
It's a crazy move. Like, he is, I mean, he's greeted by a lot of stalkers over here, and he's kind of getting a little bit lucky that he caught DisK a little bit off guard, but he sees the warp in. That's huge. DisK could actually take the game right here, right now, and he's microing really nicely here, keeping most of his stalkers alive, and look at that. Nice blink, nice warp prism. DisK is more than in this game right now.
No, absolutely. This is the moment where Terra needs to be sitting at home, defending their siege tanks, trying to keep it alive against a 4-gateway blink. Kelazhur did scout on the other side of the map. He didn't see the addition of the final 2 gateways, so maybe he assumed it was going to be the same build as the previous game, because that's why he was running across. We do have a Liberator for the counterattack, but the bunkers aren't even done yet. The siege tanks are dead. I mean, this is DisK's game to lose at this point.
It really is, but 6 pros falling, make that 7. This Liberator is not something that he accounted for. And, you know, he dealt with it in game 1. This game blinking into the tank here. 2 tanks set up. I mean, the second one, maybe not going to siege up in time, but this is one way to throw Loco. Look at his money in the bank as well. The boy is flustered. Blink boy, get it together.
He missed 2 warpins. He missed 2 warpins at this point. Finally, we do have a Nexus coming up. I kind of feel like we could have continued the aggression on the other side of the map. Instead, we're gonna... yeah, just let the opponent slowly build up the siege tanks once again. Now, maybe he can still push through this, despite the fact that he decided to forgo one of his warpins, maybe even 2 of his warpins, in favor of another base. He's only got 35 workers, though, so even if he kills a lot of SCVs, it's not like he is out of the woods here. 3rd CC is already done as well for Kelazhur, but so many probes have been killed on the other side of the map.
I can't believe that this Liberator's still going strong, just denying economy and stuff. This is a brutal game between these guys. Kelazhur is producing absolutely everything he can, but he has been denied mining, absolutely denied gas at this point, and somehow, after taking all this damage in his main base, losing so many tanks, he's actually still ahead in supply. But I mean, 12 Stalkers is no joke.
No, absolutely. There's no stimp back or anything on the horizon here either for Kelazhur that would make things better for him. So he is at the very least zoning all of these Stalkers around the main right now, so that's kind of nice. Yeah, gets another shot in and kills another one of these units. That Liberator got way too much, not even, like, it got way too many kills in the first place, but then it also denied mining of the natural for like a full minute there. That was not the cleanup that we were looking for there on the side of the Protoss. He does have a third Nexus on the back of it, but I really think this could have fully committed here and he would have been fine.
Yeah, this is pretty weird, honestly, like super weird. DisK's definitely felt a bit disjointed there. He's going to throw down 4 more gateways, already being on 4. Now the Warp Prism harass is actually really annoying for Kelazhur to deal with. And both these players are going to start wondering, like, where am I in this game? Like, this is so strange. DisK should absolutely be running away with it, but given the Liberator and what it did, and the fact that he's got a lot of red health Stalkers, I'm worried for when it comes to dealing with a push, and so is he. That's why he's landing on so many gateways here.
The third command center has been super nice, right? Once again, we have Stalker aggression going on in the main base, killing a bunch of those SCVs, just trying to deal damage. And now he's going to try and fly the third CC on over down towards the low ground as well. So Kelazhur is going to continue building up his economy. There finally is the stimp back on the combat shield. Both of them are roughly about halfway done or so at this point in the game. Yeah, he's got to be so careful. Don't lose the prism. Oh my god. Ooh, I don't like this spot at all, man. He's so lucky here that stimp pack isn't done. That prism would have been dead.
I think he's also lucky that Kelazhur just kind of moved over there. Because if he gathered all those Marines and just went under it, that could have been a dead prism where it was. You're absolutely right. And Kelazhur doesn't yet have an engineering bay, which means that he's missing out on that +1. That would have been huge if he had that on the way, or, you know, done at this point. But he did feel confident enough to take his third base and land it, which is pretty wild, honestly, given that he's still got this Warp Prism in the back of his base, and he doesn't like it either. He's going to start double producing Vikings before any medevacs are out.
Yeah. No, I don't mind that idea also, because that means he can ultimately get rid of that prism in the top left, gets rid of the observer over here as well. Okay, nice recall right there by DisK, bringing it back home before any of those Vikings can be out. DisK in the meantime has been transitioning towards Archons together with Zealots. This is one of those builds that is on a bit of a timer, because ultimately when the third base is secured, usually that's when Terrans start thinking about getting the Ghost Academy up and running, and that's of course when those Archons do fall off pretty quickly, and so do the Zealots really, so he needs to get something done. +1 is going to finish up here for the Protoss ground army eventually, but it's still a little while away. I don't know if he can wait that long.
No, I don't think he wants to wait that long either. I mean, he's going to go for it. The force field's actually working very against him, but it does allow him to just kind of go up into that main/natural area now.
Can we box a couple units instead of move commanding all of them? Okay, ultimately we are gonna get rid of some of these units. At least block them out of the base. That siege tank in the main putting in so much work.
He just blinked away from where the Vikings were. That was his Warp Prism's gone. He can't reinforce anymore. And I mean, he's force fielding him out, but he can lower those depots if he does so please. And honestly, this has been kind of messy. I mean, this is a sloppy series from both of them over here.
No, absolutely. There's no way to reinforce this other than all the way from home. And just like previously with the Stalker aggression, now DisK is going to just, rather than reinforce this by warping in, he's going to just make another base. So fourth Nexus coming up. We don't really have anything else on the back of this wandering across the map. I think ultimately, though, he's getting enough value out of this attack with so many workers going down. I'm with you, though. This has been a very messy series here so far. I don't think either player is going to be all too happy with how this is going, but ultimately DisK finds himself with a significant advantage now.
Yeah, and DisK, he was up to like 1k bank over there, and he put it to good use. Gets a Nexus on the go, second Robo Bay, and also just warped in 4 High Templars. Like, the Archons definitely did a decent job there of just dealing damage, taking out a lot of SCVs. Kelazhur, he's on a second engineering base, so we'll start catching up in the upgrades if he can. DisK economically has not been stunted for a long time though, and if he can get together a good army, which he's wounded Kelazhur, that it's going to be hard to be able to counter not just the Archon, Zealot, and Stalkers and stuff. It's going to be very hard to muster enough Vikings out to deal with the double Colossus that he's producing.
Yeah, and Kelazhur also didn't really have a lot of medevacs in the first place, right? Since he started up the Viking production, because he was already a little bit late. So a lot of these bio units are actually pretty low in hit points, despite the fact that they've been, well, getting healed up as much as possible for a while. He's gonna, when this next fight hits, he's gonna basically have no energy on those medevacs either, which is never really a situation you want to be in. He needs to address that fourth base somehow, some way though. So maybe he can boost into the main, maybe he can distract the opponent by hitting him at different angles, like we've already seen a bunch today, but it's up to Kelazhur right now to get something done on the other side of the map. But by the time he gets there, there will be 2 Colossi out at least. Extended Thermal Lance is going to be done in about a minute as well. I'm not exactly sure what he can do with this army of his, but it also at the same time feels like he needs to get something done.
Yeah, I think DisK has done a good job of changing gears. Sometimes you can get a bit carried away, but he knows that he did enough damage that he's more than in this game. Like, he's very ahead, very comfortable, and he just sat back a little bit and he was like, all right, where are you coming? And we look at his vision across the map as well here, Loco, like the mini-map. He's got a spotter outside his, third base. He's got spotters defending his main base as well. He's got vision for days here, and he's soon going to be on 4 Colossus with Thermal Lance. Yeah, I think Kelazhur's days are numbered here unless he can get some magic done.
Yeah, we've seen it happen though many times, right? Where suddenly an army is in 2 areas at once and Protoss did not properly split up their units. But we are getting to a point where DisK can once again start thinking about moving across the map himself. Extended Thermal Lens is just such a nice upgrade over here, giving that additional range to those Colossus lasers. And at this point, how many Vikings do we have? 0. There's nothing really other than, I guess, Marauders to deal with all of those Colossi. There's 2 more just about to pop. There's 4 now in total. I think it's about time we go.
Yeah, supplies are deceiving here, because Kelazhur, he's only 15 supply behind-ish, but the quality of the army that's here, like, I just bring that up, and this army is twice the cost in gas. And I mean, a lot of the gas for Kelazhur is those medevacs, but he is going to pounce on. I mean, this is about the best fight you could hope for. He's by a shield battery overcharge. 1 Colossus is going to go down. The second one, being taken out as well. But now the rest of this army comes, and oh my goodness, he has got so much.
Yeah, no, that was Kelazhur making the best of a very difficult scenario, right? He essentially fought half the Protoss army with his entire army, and then, well, when the rest of the reinforcing Protoss units finally came in to join, it's very clear that he just has way too many units available right now. I'm assuming we have a Prism. Yeah, we do also have a Prism in the mix too, so bringing that one across, maybe warping in some additional reinforcements is going to be really nice right here for DisK. He did expend behind this just in case. He's even getting a 3rd Forge once again. That is something we saw in game number 1 quite a bit earlier than this. But I don't think he's really going to need any of those things. I think he should just go across the map, warp in some reinforcements, and attack move.
And that looks like exactly what he's going to do. And Kelazhur, I think he knows. GG, well played. Tied up the series. DisK actually handled this game very decently. I mean, the Liberator was messy. But after the second big push, he handled everything really good. Being able to just kind of dial and just say to yourself, alrighty, let's step back a little bit. Let's just kind of know that I'm ahead, move things away. I think we're moving back over to America as well for the final game, correct?
Yes, that is true. So,
alrighty, cool. And I mean, the fact that they both kind of won, being comfortable now. Granted, that Liberator never should have happened, but it takes a lot to collect yourself. Because I've known DisK as a bit of a tilter before, like when we've had the webcams and you've seen and you make a mistake. You got to even remember that probe early on with the dancing depot. Like, that's the kind of thing that can throw you off and make you go, because I dare say his head definitely does that when he makes a little bit of a cheeky error.
Yeah.
But very curious.
Now, it's one of those things, you play thousands of games. You're not supposed to lose your scouting worker, right? Like, that is something, like, if you just shift queue it, you don't lose it. Not to a depot. Yeah, I mean, he got out-microed by his supply depot. That's it's nicely done, of course, there by the Terran, but it's one of those situations that you never really want to find yourself in the first place. And then that Liberator getting so much damage done too. Ultimately, I wonder what the game would have looked like if the Liberator was dealt with a little bit cleaner, because I think the Stalkers enough, like the Stalkers alone may have been enough to just overwhelm the Terran there. I also wonder, though, if that was just a gigantic misread from Kelazhur, right? Because he marched across the map. So with his Hellion, he scouted, I think, 2 gateways together with a robo facility, and he didn't see the additional 2 gates that came after that. Meaning that I think he assumed it was going to be the same build as we saw from DisK in game number 1. So he marched across the map, expecting that there was going to be a 3rd base that he could snipe, and then ultimately what he found was 4-gate Blink Stalker, and he ended up losing all of those units in the middle of the map. That was also a really rocky start right there for Kelazhur. So the fact that he stayed alive still, you know, using that Liberator with a lot of potential, I mean, yeah, it was well done. It was well run right there by Kelazhur, all things considered, but probably not the start of that game that he was hoping for.
No, it was, you know, he's against Blink Boy, and while he went Blink both games, he did it in very different ways. Like, went for a safe macro opener in the first one, got punished, went for an aggressive opener in the second and did a lot of damage, and Kelazhur went for pretty much the exact same thing. He was like, you know what, it didn't go well this game, but I'm gonna do it. And you know what? I'm going to lose the medevac as well in the exact same kind of way while doing it. But the Liberator did a lot more in the second game, but it's the one that he lost. So, yeah, very unusual.
Alrighty, well, our final game in this best of 3 series, it's Oceanborn. It's one of the few maps where we don't argue how to pronounce the map name, so that's always nice. Spawning right here in the top left-hand corner, it's DisK.
And spawning over in the bottom right-hand side, remember both these players currently 2-1 up, but it is the blue Terran, it is Kelazhur. And by 2-1 up in the group. So this is an advancement game, not an elimination game just yet. DisK has already played some very difficult opponents, such as Scarlet and Estrella, to make it here, beating out Estrella, losing to Scarlet. Kelazhur did beat Ukko and then Cham, and lost to Special, his longtime nemesis. So both these guys, it's nice that they're giving each other a run for their money here.
Absolutely, yeah. Overall, I think I like the gameplay from Kelazhur a little bit better so far in this series, but only by a small margin, you know? Like, overall, I think his movement has been pretty solid, but then I think back of those medevacs just sort of dying for no apparent reason at all. Those are the things that I hope we're not gonna see here in game number 3. Either way, once again, normal start right here for both players, albeit with a Marine first this time around here for Kelazhur.
Yeah, Kelazhur hasn't been one for mixing it up this series. You know, we're seeing a lot of variance in Terran openers against Protoss. Like, the whole double gas thing really popped off like about a year and a half ago. Really opened things up. Then you'd have like CCs on the high ground, just playing this game of no information, even engineering bay blocks and stuff. But he's been very comfortable about just scouting, reacting, and playing from there. This game, it will be in fact, hold on a minute. He didn't go for the Reaper this game, so in that way he is mixing it up a little bit.
Yeah, he went for a Marine first this time around, so that's a small deviation from the last couple games that we saw, but ultimately, I mean, in the previous game, he did get a bunch of damage done with it, right? He did get a bit of scouting info, and he still had the misread, so maybe going for this one here is just a little bit safer. He might be thinking about, no, we're just going to move back in. Probe, in the meantime, is also scouting this location just to make sure that there's no proxy, I don't know, starport or something along those lines, which is something that Terrans have been very fond of. And you know what? There is a proxy starport. It's just on the complete opposite end of the map.
This is cool. Like, this kind of thing is a build that you see a long time ago. Like, getting out, kind of when TY used to play a lot, he would do builds like this, and they are very, very annoying. And given that a 1-1, I think it's a beautiful time to whip out a build like this. We're playing a weird era of TVP. Greeted by this Adept, though. Getting the Scout on this is a very big deal. And, you know, it's funny when we haven't even talked about DisK going for Blink, because you know he's going to go for Blink. It's just...
the main question is how many gateways is it going to be? It's going to be 2 gateways. So a lot more conservative here, like we saw in the first game of this particular series. This is not really a moment, though, where you want to be losing Hellions.
No, that was a nice wall off by DisK. He was he scouted the Hellions earlier, and he was kind of prepared.
Oh, okay. I was wondering why we didn't see a medevac there just yet. It's going to be
double
a proxy.
Robo.
Yeah. Oh, very cool. Okay, it's going to be a proxy Banshee instead.
Yeah, I mean, DisK actually went double robo there, but it was a mistake. I mean, he's obviously a little bit nervous, isn't he? Obviously a little bit nervous, and that second game was definitely shaky for both of them. But, okay, this isn't quite what I expect from Kelazhur. I was expecting like a medevac drop with like 4 Hellions.
Yeah, me too.
But this is far more...
That's what we see
cheeky.
frequently, right? Like as far as like build order frequency goes, that's something we see all the time in a best of 3 series, especially when you go for that Hellion play. That also explains why he decided to YOLO in those first couple of Hellions, trying to just get whatever damage in he could. There is going to be a robo facility, so yeah, there is a detector available right now for the Protoss, but just having that observer out does not guarantee that you scout exactly what's happening. The observer is thinking about going across the map, and that's exactly where it goes. This cloaked Banshee. Did we go for the cloak upgrade? Oh, he fired it up for a little bit, and then he canceled it again. Okay.
Yeah, he fired it up, and I think he canceled it upon scouting the front with the... is what I think, because he's got to scout the robo. Because if your opponent is going for some cheeky, you know, delayed robo or no robo at all, in case your name is Kevin Vanderkoy, you can absolutely catch them off guard with a Cloak Banshee. But Kelazhur is all about this follow-up push. And making that single Raven, remember, it doesn't have Interference Matrix right now. This is a very scandalous push over here.
I don't know if I love this. Yeah, one of the siege tanks has already gone down. That auto turret gets popped down after the fight, essentially, which is not what you're looking for at all. Useless. 2 Hellions down, 1 siege tank down. Now Blink is done as well, and DisK is going to start chasing some of these units. Getting the siege tank would be huge, and he does get it. Lovely stuff.
Yeah, this build from Kelazhur, honestly, this is...
Careful.
This needs to go back to the lab. Like, this has not been smooth. But DisK, what, oh my goodness, this was costly, man. Like...
Yeah, you got the siege tank, but it costs you everything.
Yeah, this has been a bloodbath. I mean, before that happened, DisK didn't need to do that, but get to see this starport as well flying away. I mean, Kelazhur is battered and bruised. I'm not really sure. Like, he definitely needs to go back and kind of work on this build.
It's triple Forge again. He is once again transitioning towards the 3rd Forge right now. That is 3 games in a row that we're going to see. Oh, he canceled 1, I think.
No, he's got
no. They're all here. Okay. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, this is some. I remember Drogo once being asked about Zest. So Zest used to go like +2, and then like +1 armor. But then instead of getting +3 attack, he'd get +1 shields. Which I remember we asked Drogo about it, and he was like, "Oh, why do you do that? Or why does he do that?" And he's like, "It's just." He's a hipster. Like, there's no actual logical explanation. And I think sometimes I've noticed this with American players. They'll try and create as opposed to copy, which I think is really cool. But sometimes it's just creating to create.
Just for the sake of it?
Yeah. Almost, yeah. And given that DisK is very far ahead this game, you know what? I kind of like it.
The hipster Protoss. It's a man of many nicknames. I mean, I don't mind it, to be honest, in this particular instance. It's just that it can be so risky, right? Because you really need to wait until those upgrades are done until you get value out of it. But in this particular instance, it's not like Kelazhur is really going to be in a situation to attack. He is finishing up Stimpec, he is finishing up combat shields, and he is finishing up the +1 infantry weapons too. Normally, that's a big indicator that Terran is about ready to fight. I don't think DisK should be attacking right now, though. I mean, he's got so many upgrades on the horizon himself. This seems a little bit risky. I mean, it may work out, but is this what he should be doing?
I mean, it's right before Stim finished, and it's right before +1, but if this fight goes on for just a little bit of time here, I mean...
Okay. No, that was actually good for him in the end.
Yeah, it's a weird one. Like, DisK doesn't need to be here, but the fact that he is here... It's a weird one. Like, Kelazhur only just got 2 medevacs out. Remember, he's been playing from a place where he threw away a lot of his army in the middle of the map.
So now we are reinforcing this, by the way, but all the way from the 3rd base. And you got to be careful. Kelazhur, obviously, with the defender's advantage here. More zealots are going to show up. That is a large army, though. Archons on the horizon, too, but that's one of the Immortals going down, and that's one of those units you really don't want to lose. 4th Nexus, though, on the back of this, too. So it's not like DisK is going completely all in off of this. He is macroing on the back of it, but there we go. +2, +2, +2. Starts up pretty much immediately.
That's such a huge investment.
It's so big, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, honestly, Again, those Protosses on StarCraft Reddit right now, they're like, mate, why even get shield upgrades? You won't have them half the time with Ghosts, you know? They just EMP you off the planet. But he's going for it. But that alone, like just 3 forges, 450 minerals, these upgrades as well, you're talking like a 900 mineral, 500 gas investment right now for these upgrades. And those are units you don't have on the field. This actually, yeah, it could potentially be a window for Kelazhur here.
So there's no splash damage here for Protoss at all, other than I guess the 2 Archons here, but there is no High Templar, there's no Colossai, there's none of that here. So this is a scary attack. He is relying on just the sturdiness of this particular Protoss army. Now we do have a Warpin in the main base getting some damage done, and you know what, those triple upgrades have of course kicked in at this point, and that's a lot of reinforcements coming up too. I think this is going to work out for DisK, but it really does feel... Ooh, he does get one of those Medevacs too. It really does feel a little bit flimsy. Now, though, when he does finish up those 2/2/2 upgrades, I mean, this army is going to be insanely potent.
Absolutely. Like, DisK is... he's more than winning this game right now.
Yeah.
Like, he's made big investments, and he's been ahead ever since he cleaned up those tanks in the middle of the map, and it's been a weird series to watch, man, because... I kind of wanted to see a bit more from Kelazhur, and he started off so strong in game 1, despite a lot of stuff happening, but it just hasn't been connecting for him today. And what DisK is doing right now, the triple forge, he's styling on Kelazhur right now.
We need to go. We need to go. There's really no reason to now be making photon cannons at home and a dark shrine and a robo bay. Just go. I think we can just go and kill him right now. If he gives Kelazhur too much time, there's certainly a chance he's going to claw his way back into it. Okay, I think he's just setting up all these defensive measures. Again, investing like 1,000 resources into things that probably won't help him out.
But he lined up his 2/2/2, you see. Like, not even memeing, the 2/2/2 is what he was kind of waiting for here, and it's active. It's active, and Ghosts aren't yet on the field. Like, it's going to be very hard for Kelazhur to win against this army.
I think we just need to bring everything that we have right now as Protoss across the map and just deal the damage. Now, the anti-armor missile, though, has been really nice. Now the Ghosts are also available. Where's the reinforcements? Do we not have a Prism at all? Okay, we don't have a Prism, so... we're just going to warp in once again over at the 3rd. DisK is thinking about making a 5th Nexus as well. I kind of feel like there have been multiple opportunities in this game to go ahead and win. And every time we just, play it super safe. I mean, obviously, it's important to win this match for the both of them, right? So DisK doesn't want to take any chances, but ultimately this game is dragging out for a while. Now suddenly Terran is going to be finishing up a +2 upgrade as well. 3/3/3, I mean, maybe that's something he's thinking about, but it's not started up just yet. That timing attack window he's created for himself, it's closing.
Yeah, you can say he's making a meal out of it, but that army that he has does pack a punch, and like the upgrades that he has available, like he's ahead in upgrades, and right now he's just, I think he's enjoying the moment a little bit. Like, he's 73 workers against 61. He knows that his opponent is only on 3 bases while he's taking the 5th, and it's kind of like almost hoping that your opponent moves out so you can collapse on them and fight as far away from their reinforcements as possible. But I'm with you. He is making a bit of a meal out of it.
Yeah, well, at the very least, Kelazhur right now is thinking he can move out. He started up another command center as well, but this is way too big of a Protoss army. There's no way in my mind that Terran's going to be able to destroy this, although that's a good start right there with the Widow Mines. My god, that is so much damage being done over here to this army. In the meantime, those Zealots have cleaned up lots of SCVs over at the 3rd base.
Yeah, that's 17 SCVs fallen to that run by. And I mean, this is... how many SCVs have died this game? 42? I mean, there is a Widow Mine drop, dealing a little bit of damage, just 2 probes falling, but DisK is now behind supply, which... that, like, when he's been so far ahead this game, killed 42 probes, like, this style that he's been playing, like, now Ghosts are on the field. That massive shield upgrade that he has is definitely not the best, but... he's still very far ahead, Loco. It's just, yeah, this
is making it so much harder, though, in my mind, than it really needed to be. And if he looks back at his replay, I think he'll probably agree as well. Now there's Widow Mines at his 3rd, at his 4th. There's been some damage over at the 5th as well. These things are going to fire again in just a moment. He's fighting up a ramp right now into Widow Mines and into Liberators. Okay, Looks like he's still going to be able to clean it up, but that's 15 probes right there. Zealots in the meantime, though, still destroying SCVs as well on the other side of the map, so Kelazhur's economy is not looking pretty. Oh, it's actually a bunch of Dark Templar this time around. Okay. Anyways, Kelazhur's economy is also not looking pretty on the back of this, but okay.